Hi, my name's Adam Derb and I'm the Pre-Sales Engineering Manager for Mitel Australia, New Zealand and South Pacific, and today I'm going to take you through a demonstration of Mitel's integration with Microsoft Teams. So this Teams integration I'm going to show you today works with kind of any version of Office 365 that allows you to run Microsoft Teams. It does not require any telephony add-on licenses or E5s, etc. Any basic license that gives you Teams will suffice. And that's because this integration is done by a little application that you can run with inside Teams. So if you go into the Microsoft Teams App Store and search for Mitel, you will see there is an application in there called Mitel Assistant. And if I just switch to Mitel Assistant in this Teams client here, what this application allows you to do is make calls to people from within inside Teams to their phone number. Okay, so within Teams natively, you can call Teams to Teams soft phone client with any version of Microsoft Teams licensing. However, you can't call someone on their extension or their landline or their mobile, whereas this little plugin allows you to call phone numbers. Now, how we do that is in the Mitel Assistant. At the top here, you've got a search or dial window. So I could type in a phone number and click to call that phone number. However, the most popular way to call somebody from within Teams using the Mitel Assistant is to start to type in the person's name. This will now search through your Microsoft contact database and is searching through both a corporate database, typically Active Directory for Microsoft, as well as a personal directory, which will be your Outlook contacts. You can then select a contact, and if it has a phone number, it will show you the phone number here. You can then click on the green button to make a call to that particular contact. So I'm going to show you that a little bit later on in the demo. But another way to make a phone call would be from the call history panel on the left-hand side here in Mitel Assistant. And you can see that I've got incoming calls, calls that I've received, calls that I've made, and also calls that I've missed. And if I hover over a call record, it allows me to delete that from my list here. I've got a green button to place a call to that contact, and I've got a yellow star button that allows me to add and remove them from the speed dials on the right-hand side. Now note that all missed calls in this list show up in red, so they're very easily identified. What you can also do is click on the missed call button in the middle here, and that will filter just on missed calls. There is also another button, and if there's a red dot next to it, it means that you've got a new voicemail. So this gives you voicemail indication, and if you do have a new voicemail, or even if you just want to dial into your voicemail inbox, you then have a button to click on to dial into a voicemail. And by the way, these calls will work in both a soft phone mode as well as a desk phone mode, so they can work with both. Now, another way to make a call to contacts that you call regularly is you can add them to the speed dial list, either through the yellow button that we saw in the call history, or you can simply click on the add speed call here. You can then search through your contact list, both your corporate and your personal Outlook contacts. You then click on that add button, and that will then add that contact into your speed dials. You can then click on the green button to place a call to that user. Now notice that some of my contacts in here have a little drop down arrow next to their number, and that's if they have multiple numbers. So as well as having an extension number, it also has a longer landline number in here as well. So I could click on that number there, then click on the green button, and it will place a call to that particular number. Now, before I show you how to make a call using Mitel Assistant, I just want to point out that you can also make calls from Teams in the native chat interface. So if you are having a Teams chat with another user, here I am chatting to Tom. Now, currently Tom is offline, so therefore, I couldn't use the Teams calling audio method because that would be a native Teams to Teams call, and Tom isn't currently using Teams. However, if I wanted to make a call to Tom's extension or landline number, what I could use is down in the chat tools at the bottom here, I do have access from the native chat window into Mitel Assistant, which will again find out the contact's phone numbers and allow me to select the number before clicking the green button to place a call to him. So let's go back and actually place a call to a user now. So I'm going to go back and do this from Mitel Assistant, and I'm going to place a call to Tom on his landline number here. So I'm going to choose that, and I'm then going to click on the green button. Now in this demonstration, I'm actually using soft phone. So it's using the soft phone to place a call across to Tom. Notice as soon as I place a call, I get the little floater pop-up come up on the screen. So this allows me to kind of move it around the screen and access my call control. Now it does float above whatever you're doing, so if I was to switch from Teams across to a web browser as an example, I still have access to my call control through here. So let's just go back into Teams because that's where a lot of people spend their time these days. And let's take a look at some of the features we get in the call control window. So in here I've got my hang up button for when I want to end the call. I've also got a convenient mute button if I want to mute myself from the call. And if you want any more telephony features, I've got a little expand button that I can drop down. This now allows me to access additional features like a keypad. So if I'm dialing into like a conference bridge or an IVR and I need to enter digits, I can do that through here. I've also got the ability to set the audio devices for my soft phone, so I can pick my headset and my speakers through here. I've also got a hold button, which when someone is on hold becomes an unhold button, and I can take them off. And then I've got the ability to add another person to the call. So if I want to add Alex into the call, I click on the add button. I search for the contact, in this case Alex. I then click on the consult button, which will allow me to talk to Alex before then bringing them in to that three-party call. Now, if I wanted to transfer the call to Alex, I could simply click on the transfer button, find Alex again, and now I've got two options where I can do a consultation call and speak to Alex before I push the call through across to him, or I can simply do a blind transfer. One other feature we have, if I just take the call off soft hold here, is we do have a handoff option. And this allows me to hand the call from my soft phone or desk phone, whichever one I'm on, across to another one of my devices, which could be my mobile number. So if I click on mobile, what that will now do is it will now hand off the call to my mobile phone, keeping the audio intact as it moves across. And you can now see that the call is on my mobile. Now, of course, it may well be that I took the call on my twinned mobile in the first instance. I now can come back to my desk and using the application, which will be up on my screen here, I can now hand off the call back to my soft phone. And what this will now do is it will move the call back to the soft phone as we can see it now in the application. Now, with the soft phone application that we have on the PC, which is hidden away and only comes up when you are on a telephone call, we do have the little call quality indicator. And this shows me green for good call quality and red for bad. If I click on this as a user, it will actually give me some statistics around packet loss, jitter, and delay. So very useful for the user to be able to kind of monitor that kind of status of the quality of the call. Now I'm going to hang up this call that I've just made out, and I'm going to show you some other ways that you can place calls from outside of Teams. So if you happen to be outside of Teams, let's say you're in a web browser, and I've just Googled a company here. I've Googled Mitel in Melbourne. In Google Places on the left-hand side, on the right-hand side here, you've got a telephone number that is clickable. You've also got a call button that Google gives you. And if I was to click on that call button, what that will now do is place a call to that number through my Mitel soft phone. Okay. Also, a lot of web pages like Mitel's web page here also have clickable phone numbers on them as well. So if I was to click on that phone number, that will again dial whatever number is clicked through my Mitel soft phone here. And of course, as well as being on web pages, this is also a very popular feature in email signatures. So here I've actually got a phone number of Tom's, and if I was to click on it, it will actually dial through to Tom using my soft phone. And as soon as I do, of course, I'm back to my call control at the top here. But if I had a phone number in my Windows desktop that wasn't clickable, like it was written in an email or on a web page but wasn't clickable, what I can do is actually highlight it, then press a key on my keyboard that I've configured to be my short dial for dial highlighted number. And it will now dial that number that I highlighted through my Mitel soft phone. So giving you some nice alternative ways to place calls from outside of Teams. That can also be very useful if you are having a Teams outage, because it will still allow you to make calls and receive calls from outside that Teams environment. So before I move on to the mobile client, I want to just show you through the bidirectional presence that we now have. So let's place that call through to Tom again. Notice that Tom's status in Microsoft is offline. So he's showing us offline as his Microsoft present state. If I was to place a call through to Tom, when Tom answers the call, a few seconds later, Tom's status in Microsoft over here, you can see it's gone to win a call, and over here it does synchronize a little bit later. So that will then show up as being in the call as well. Here we go. And then when that call is completed, so if I hang up the call with Tom and he hangs up his phone, that will then go back to his previous Microsoft status. So even though Tom isn't logged into Teams, it will still show his telephony status because it's done at a Mitel phone system to Microsoft Teams cloud environment level. so it doesn't rely on the user being logged in. We can show any user that's a Mitel extension. We can show their telephony presence to other users who are actually running Teams. So that's the presence syncing from Mitel across to Microsoft. What we're going to look at now is from Microsoft back into Mitel. So for that, I'm going to show an incoming call. Before I do, just to point out that, of course, my current status in Microsoft is available. And what that means is that when I receive an incoming call, so here's the call coming in. When that call is coming through, it pops up on my screen here. I can then click on the green button to answer that call. And you can now see it's back into the standard kind of call handling that we have there for handling the call with Tom. Now, if I manually change my status in Teams, let's say I change my status to busy manually, or do not disturb, would work just as well. What will now happen is it will synchronize that present status through to Mitel, and when I receive an incoming call, I just wait a couple of seconds for that synchronization to go through. When I then receive an incoming call, it will now, if you hear, go through to voicemail. Please leave me a message on. Okay, and again, change it back manually to available. Wait a couple of seconds for that to synchronize through, and then I'll place a call, and you will see it will then ring through back into the user again. Now that happens for manually set statuses, but it also works for automatic statuses. So as an example, if I was to go into a Teams video meeting, so let's start a meeting here right now and just jump this user in. I won't use audio or video. This will then take me into a meeting. I won't bring anyone else in, and you can now see that in my team status here, I just go back to Mitel Assistant, you can see that my team status is now automatically changed to in a call. And what that means is that when I receive a call, if I press dial again, you reached the voicemail of Adam Durr. Please leave me a message. You can see it's going through the voicemail. And again, if I was in a meeting, but I still wanted to receive calls, what I would have to do is manually change my status back to available. So when I manually set my status back to available, that will then synchronize through to Mitel again, automatic or manual. It will synchronize through to Mitel, and that will then mean that I can then receive incoming calls. So I just wait for that synchronization to happen. Just like I said, it takes a few seconds to run through, and then I will be able to receive those incoming calls through to Mitel. So next, I want to show you the mobile client. So with the mobile client, let me just bring up my mobile on the telephone screen here. So here you can see is my mobile. And what I'm going to do is show you that as a Teams user, I can also use Teams on the mobile client. So here's my Teams mobile client. You can see that I'm in a meeting, so it's giving me the option to join it at the top there. But what I can do down the bottom here is I can go into that same Mitel Assistant interface on the mobile. And then at the top here, I could search for a user. What this will then do is find the contact and give me the ability to click to call them, just like I had on the desktop PC. Also, of course, what I can do as well is I can use the call history to place a call through to that user as well. But what I'm going to do on here is use the speed dial. So if I go across the speed dials, I'm going to dial across to Martin Chulov and his landline number. I click on the green button next to there to place a call. And what it then does is it cross launches into my soft phone, my Mitel application on my mobile. So when I click on call, it now rings across to Martin. When he answers, I've now got my call control on the mobile application. Sorry, just click this button here so you can see what's happening there. And once again, you can see that it also gives me a call quality indicator in that mobile soft phone interface, so I can monitor it through there. So basically, you've got kind of exactly the same functionality on the mobile as what you have on the PC. So that concludes my demonstration of the Mitel integration into Microsoft Teams. If you want further information on this, please contact your local Mitel representative. Thank you very much for watching.